Hey, this is Steve Halleck of TikToking, and I'm here with a special video today. Before I do, as always, please subscribe to my channel, share it. I keep meeting watch people who are like, hey, what are good YouTube channels? And somehow they don't even know that I make videos here, which is weird because to me, there aren't that many good watch channels on YouTube, so I don't know how people could be missing mine. But if you know somebody that you think might like to see a breakdown of cool watches, send it on over. You'll be doing them and me a favor. But yeah, subscribe, always comment. Check out my podcast if you haven't. It's called TikToking, and it's available on iTunes or on Stitcher or a bunch of different podcast apps. So hopefully you guys can get down on that as well. Today I'm going to do a cool kind of comparison. I did this once with three really special Journe resonances, and I just happen to have three really cool Royal Oak versions here, so I thought I would do that. Okay, so here we go. Obviously these are Audemars Piguet Royal Oaks, and let's just start at the beginning, which is the beginning. This is a 5402 Jumbo A series. It's one of the nicest ones I've ever seen. It looks like a brand new watch almost, and man, it's awesome. But here you can see this is the beginning of the Royal Oak. So this is 40 plus years old, and the design has mainly carried on till today. In fact, today's designs even are going back to this, where for the 40th anniversary, they put the AP logo back here at 6 o'clock on the dial to sort of look like the original 5402s. Now, when people talk about A series, they were numbered on the back, right? So I'm gonna just block this serial number, but you can see there, you have an A there, and the first of them were A, and then there were B's and C's and D's, and you get the point. But basically, the first Royal Oaks were A series. Some of the other differences with the 5402 case, it's an integrated back, so this back does not snap on and off. It's part of the case, and so the movement is cased from the top here. Obviously, it's not a display back, so it is a bit thinner than the 15202, which is the modern jumbo equivalent, although the movement is more or less the same. All the internals are pretty much the same, but the case is a little bit slimmer because of the way the back works here. The bracelet has this sort of old school clasp. It's much lighter than current AP bracelets. That's sort of the biggest difference you would notice if you held this watch and a 15202, is just that the new bracelets are quite a bit more substantial, and the clasps are much more modern. That can be a plus or a minus. You know, it's one of the cool things about this watch is kind of just how light and thin it feels. So yeah, so this is the 5402 A series, where it all began. And just look at the dial on this watch. Holy moly. This is a really, really good one. And you can see the bezel and the case are just ultra crisp. There's no way to really futz these cases because, again, the back is integrated. So you know that this has to have been an original case, which is pretty unbelievable. Anyway, good. 5402 A series, done with that. Now, in the 90s, Audemars Piguet started putting complications in these things, and sort of the most successful was the Perpetual calendar, Skeleton Perpetual. And I have here two very, very, very rare versions of the Royal Oak Skeleton Perpetual. So first, let's do the one with the dial. Now, this one is in tantalum and platinum. It's extremely, extremely rare. This is the only one I've ever seen, in fact. And it's very, very heavy. I wish I could get across how heavy these are on video, but as a little treat for the end of the episode, I have my trusty coffee scale here, and I'm gonna weigh all 3 of the watches. But before that, let's get into it. This particular one is interesting because it doesn't have the mega tapisserie pattern, or any tapisserie, which is what they call the sort of like raised square engraving dial patterns on the APs. So this is just a flat dial, which really makes it quite a bit easier to read than any other Royal Oak that I've seen, really. Certainly any other Perpetual that I've seen. Tantalum, I have found out, is actually an element. So it's not like a titanium hybrid or something like that. Tantalum is its own element, and it's known for this sort of very blue, cool, gray color. And you can see it next to steel. It's definitely quite a bit noticeable how gray it is. And it's also very heavy. It's about as dense as platinum. So this is really heavy because basically you've got the tantalum case with the platinum bezel and the platinum bracelet links. Super cool and substantial watch. This is easier than the skeleton to go over the functions, so let's do it. At the bottom, you've got a moon phase. Here you've got obviously day of the week. Up here you've got the month. In here you've got a leap year indicator. Now, the original Perpetuals did not come with a leap year indicator. So basically you had to go around through every February, advance through, find the leap year that way, you know, when it jumped from Feb 29 to March 1, then you'd know you were on leap year and you could advance from there to the month of whatever year you were actually in. This has a leap year indicator, so it's a little bit later of a piece, and very, very, very helpful when you're actually setting the watch. So you can see we're at January, it's 2018, which is the second year after a leap year. So we've just started, we're there. And this is January 4th that I'm recording this, which is a Thursday for any of you keeping track. This moon phase is actually not set, but the moon phase on the other one is set properly. So anyway, here is your tantalum piece, and it's got this skeletonized rotor. This one is numbered, individually numbered, but it doesn't say out of how many. So it just says the number. Whereas this one is another extremely rare piece. This is only the second of these I've ever seen. And this is the Skeleton Perpetual. And this one is stainless steel and platinum. So the shiny bits you see, the bezel and the inner bracelet links are platinum. And the rest of it is stainless steel. This one is numbered out of 25. So there were 25 of these made. And they do not surface very often. But here you can see, same exact functions, has the leap year indicator also on this one. But here you've got a skeletonized movement, so you can see the cool star wheel there. You've got the cam here and this little wheel that's gonna take you through the years. You got all the cool little calendar functions, which is particularly neat when you're setting it, because you can really see how each of these pieces works to create the perpetual calendar. And on the back, you have, again, this skeletonized rotor that says, you know, AP. And again, this one is numbered out of 25, right? So, moment of truth. Why don't we weigh these things? Let's see if I can get this somewhere where you can see it. Now, the 5402 is definitely going to be the lightest. So let's start there, okay? $94.9. This is in grams, okay? So 94.9 grams. Not super ridiculously light, but for a steel braceleted watch, pretty damn light, right? That's why this is often called the ultra thin. It's the jumbo. It's a thin, fairly light steel braceleted sport watch, the original luxury steel sport watch, okay? So let's jump up from there. Now, different movement, different case. You've got the perpetual calendar now. You can see, actually I should show you before we do this. The case size is the same, but we're now just a little bit thicker. You can see it's a little bit thicker through the case with this screw-on display back, but also the bezel on the Perpetual calendars are definitely thicker than the jumbos. It's not a huge difference if you were to look at the specs, but it does change the proportions of the watch for better or worse. It just makes it different, really. It definitely doesn't seem as just ultra thin as a 5402 or a 15202, but it's still a very thin watch, obviously, for what it is. Okay, so now we've got some platinum in this one, and we've got the added complications, so it's definitely going to be heavier. Let's see how much heavier. Okay, 125, so 25% heavier, basically. We've added some platinum, added the complications. Different clasp, different bracelet. You're getting into the more modern bracelets here, so this is a more substantial bracelet than the original ones, but it's still pretty lightweight, and it's definitely not as beefy as the modern 15202 or the modern Perpetual bracelets or anything like that. So this is kind of in between, right? It's probably mainly this platinum that accounts for that other difference. And now the big kahuna here, you guys can see now exactly how heavy this beast is. All right, so 192 and a half. So let me think, that's almost 70 grams heavier. So it's basically 50%, a little more than 50% heavier than the steel and platinum version. So when I say this is heavy, it's definitely heavy. This is a serious chunk of metal, which I think is really cool. It definitely makes it feel different on the wrist, and it along with this cool blue color, gives it a real metallic presence. So one more time, this one, 192 and a half grams, and steel and platinum, 125 and a half grams. If anybody has a steel Royal Oak Perpetual, please see if you can weigh yours. If you have like a food scale or something like that, weigh it in grams and put it in the comments. I'm really interested to know how it compares to these two. Obviously, it'll be a little bit different depending on how many links you have in the bracelet, but it should give a pretty good idea, right? So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. These are fun to do. Let me show you the three of these. You want to see them on the wrist? Let's do that before we end off, since it's unlikely you will ever see these three watches in one place at the same time again. Okay? So this is 5402. You can see very thin, very light, really hugs the wrist, really easy watch to wear. Easy to read time, it's got the date, maybe the ultimate daily wearer of a watch. Okay. The tantalum. The two-tone metals really pop on this one, much more so than the steel and platinum. If the platinum parts weren't polished on the steel and platinum, you probably wouldn't even notice, which I assume is why they polished them. But anyway, here's this one. Pretty frickin' awesome watch. Okay, and the one that I've been wearing nearly every day recently, this is the steel and platinum, which to me has sort of that old school Royal Oak charm, but with a pop of modernness and with just that something extra special. So anyway, that's the three of them. Hope you guys enjoyed. I will be back with more videos soon, and hopefully a lot of cool 2018 stuff to bring you guys. Thanks a lot.